Do you believe in destiny? Or are we all just leaves blowing in the wind, bumping into one another by accident? I used to believe in the wind. Then I met Elena. She was the coincidence that became my miracle, the only reason I am breathing today. It was a humid Tuesday, the kind where the air feels heavy and still. I was at my wit's end. My childcare had fallen through, and my house felt like a mountain of chores I couldn't climb. Then came the knock. When I opened the door, there stood a woman who looked like she was carved from old oak. She had silver-threaded hair tied in a practical knot and eyes that didn't just look at you, they looked through you. She held a crumpled piece of paper. "I am looking for number 42, she said in a voice like shifting gravel. I lived at 24. We talked for 10 minutes on that porch. I noticed how she scanned the horizon, her eyes tracking a bird in flight with the precision of a hawk. When I mentioned I was looking for help, she didn't smile. She simply nodded and said, "I have a feeling I am at the right house, even if the number is wrong." I hired her on the spot. Elena was a ghost in the house. She didn't hum or chatter. She moved with a strange, calculated grace. I'd find her standing by the stove, not cooking, but listening to the hum of the refrigerator. Once I caught her counting the seconds it took for the toaster to pop. I thought she was eccentric, perhaps a bit lonely. What I didn't see was that she wasn't just nannying. She was auditing my life. She was learning the heartbeat of the house, the creaks of the floorboards, the rhythm of the boiler, the smell of the dust. A month into her stay, the silence of the night turned deadly. Deep inside the walls of the old library, an ancient wire gnawed by time began to glow. There was no smoke, no alarm, just a slow, searing heat turning the insulation into a toxic, odorless gas. I was in my bedroom, trapped in a heavy drugged sleep caused by the fumes. I was dreaming of being underwater, the pressure on my chest feeling like a heavy stone. I was seconds away from never waking up. The stone on my chest vanished as my door was splintered open. Elena didn't call my name. She barked a command that cut through my stupor like a cold blade. She didn't look like a nanny anymore. She looked like a soldier. She threw a wet towel over my face and hauled me up. My legs were like jelly, but she slung my arm over her shoulder and moved us with terrifying speed. I tried to head for the stairs, but she pinned me against the wall. "No," she hissed, pointing at the floor. A thin orange glow was licking the edges of the floorboards. The staircase was a chimney. She forced me toward the narrow service window in the laundry room, a window I had kept locked and painted shut for years. She broke the glass with her bare fist, oblivious to the blood, and shoved me out onto the porch roof, just as the hallway behind us turned into a roar of white heat. We tumbled onto the grass together, gasping for the sweet, cold air of reality. The fire marshal told me later that the house was a tinderbox. He asked how we got out. I looked at Elena, who was calmly wrapping her hand in a piece of her apron. She hadn't been a safety warden. She had been a survivor of a war I only knew from history books. She had learned long ago that peace is something you protect with every breath. I hired a stranger to watch my children. I ended up being watched over by an angel with scarred hands. Elena is still with us, and every time I hear a knock at the door, I wonder, who is the universe sending today?